Inspired by Proverbs 27:17, this is Sharpening Kingdom Leaders with ACSI President and CEO, Dr. Larry Taylor. Hear inspiring stories from Christian school leaders from around the world and be challenged to continue running the race to advance Christ-centered education. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sharpening Kingdom Leaders Podcast. I'm Josh Warden with ACSI. Well, our guest today on the podcast is from a country affected by war. In fact, we won't even be able to tell you her full name or name the exact country or their school. In fact, if you're watching this episode on YouTube, you'll notice her face will be blurred out during the episode. But we can say her first name is Joy, and she's from an amazing school that is affecting students from many different countries who come to this school for its high academic level and in multiple other reasons. There's even some unreached people groups represented in its student body, and she'll have some great advice about her own leadership career, what she's noticed about leading through crisis and war, and many other things that I think will show a lot of what the advancement of Christian education can look like in a variety of ways through a common vision and overall great conversation. We hope you enjoy this edition of the Sharpening Kingdom Leaders Podcast.
I am so honored to spend a few minutes with you. I recall when the war started, just the challenges of being a school leader. In and of itself, it's a challenge, but when you add that component. So first thing is just tell us a little bit about the pre-war.
So our school has served the consular community from countries like India, Romania, Japan, Korea. But we also are the #1 school of choice for all of the Japanese students in the city. All of the Japanese companies, Nissan, Toyota, Toshiba, and then Korea quickly followed. So Hyundai has the largest plant in Europe, and so we serve Hyundai and 5 of their subsidiaries in the city. So certainly our Korean population also see us as a school of choice, again, because of the character education that we bring, the Christian education that we bring, the exceptional English language K through 12 education that we bring. Dr. Taylor, our students get into, yes, they get into Baylor, they get into Princeton, Duke, Berkeley, but they also get into Yonsei and Seoul National. They get into the top Korean universities. Even last year, in the context of war, our graduate got into Yonsei University with a 4-year scholarship. So this record is well known in Korea, in Japan, and it's such a privilege. Who would have thought those board members would not have realized? They thought, we'll just open our doors a little bit wider. They wouldn't have realized the scope of influence our school has today. So that's an exciting piece to be a part of. And today, in the context of war, most businesses have left the city, but of course the consular community is still there. And we find that our presence and our reputation among the consulates in the city has only continued to grow. So we see God using crises, we see God using times of blessing to make His name known among the nations that are in the city.
Isn't it amazing that wherever we go in the world, that there's a universal language, and it's called education.
Absolutely.
And what we're finding is that everybody wants every mom and dad, they want their baby or their babies to receive a quality education, from the affluent to the high poverty, and to plant a school. I love how you said just some of the critical decisions along the way. Mm-hmm. Obviously there for beginning for the missionary children, but to open the door, and the attraction might be high quality education, which I commend you and your leaders to be focused unapologetically on high quality, that being an attraction, but also they want their kids there because of as you mentioned, I mean, you can't have a Christian school without a focus on on character. So my guess is they're not all coming because you're a Christian school.
Right.
I love that. They're coming because of excellence. We know that excellence is for the glory of God, but regardless of why they come, when they're in your walls, when they're in your classrooms, the love, the relationship building, and that bridge to the gospel is realized. And so talk to me about the war. How did that change you as a leader? How did it change just the culture, the climate of your school?
Before I dive into the war, maybe I could springboard off of this last question, which was, how did we keep our distinctiveness, our Christian distinctiveness, as we opened those doors?
That's good.
One of those things that we did, Larry, was we made Mother Tongue Bible a priority. So we just started teaching our Bible in Japanese and Korean. We got our teachers we have a Japanese teacher that teaches Bible in Japanese, and she was leading her students to Christ. We have a Korean missionary teacher with a doctorate who's teaching her Korean students Bible and leading them to Christ. And the Korean community respect her because she has a doctorate, right? And so we overtly taught the Bible in a way that the parents could also understand, so that children and parents could be talking about Bible together, and teachers and parents then could have more of a discussion about Bible. And actually we found that our non-believing parents began to come to us with more questions, and they were pushing us to improve our Bible curriculum to meet what their needs were.
Love that.
And we have found that has really been an important element as we've walked into the context of war. I can remember before the war started, one Korean mom said, "Why is my 9th grader studying theology? She doesn't even know who Jesus is yet. She doesn't even know the basics. So she needs to know." And I was already thinking to try to talk to my Bible guys, going, "You guys, we got to go. We got to pedal back. We've got this Bible curriculum written for missionary children, but that's not who's in our classroom as much anymore, right? We're 70% business at that point." And so actually the war did some things for us that needed to happen anyway, especially in the area of Bible curriculum. So when the war happened, you're going to hear a little bit more about the specifics of how we evacuated the school. I mean, the bottom thing I would say is, here's my awesome husband coming up, but you got to have somebody besides the head of school that's really in charge of risk assessment, risk management, contingency planning, your child safety plan, all of that, because they really need to run that show, and you need to keep everything really, obviously carefully controlled
while you're
in that environment, while you're focusing on the bigger. So, but one of the things that we immediately did as we were regrouping and starting school again was we said, okay, Mother Tongue Bible has to be prioritized. We have to keep that going no matter what it will take. And what it took was actually some of us remaining in Kyrgyzstan so we could be sure to beam ELL and Mother Tongue Bible to Korea and Japan, 3 hours ahead, and 3 hours back into Russia. So I actually asked a team to remain. I mean, imagine asking your teachers, okay, so I know you'd like to go home to the U.S. now, we've just gotten out of Russia, but could we form a team here in Kyrgyzstan so we can protect the mission and vision of Mother Tongue Bible? So our Japanese teacher stayed, our ELL teacher stayed, our Korean teacher stayed. And so we formed a team in Kyrgyzstan to protect our Bible curriculum. That was one thing. And then, remembering the words of that mother. Why is my 9th grader studying theology? She doesn't understand the basics about Jesus yet. This year, 9th grade Bible is the Alpha course. And so we said, our kids are asking huge questions. Let's take it a step further and really dig into these questions for all of them in deep ways. And so that's been just a really exciting. I loved what you said yesterday. It blessed me when you said flourishing isn't always pretty. Our school's flourishing, but it's flourishing without the resources. It's a Gideon school. God stripped us of a lot of things so that he can be glorified, right? Right now, that's the way it is. but he provides the growth.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit provides the flourishing. We can water, but he provides the growth. So the students' engagement with Bible, including Mother Tongue Bible and the Alpha Course, has been really exciting to see.
I am fascinated with the Mother Tongue Bible, and if I'm understanding it right, a lot of your students, they go home.
We evacuated our staff and our staff dependents to Kyrgyzstan, and then some of them went to the U.S., but we kept and half of our school was left behind. European, U.S., and Japanese citizens had to leave the city.
Okay.
So, but when you say they go home, we actually kept our whole school together. We basically did two schools. We did a school in the building, and then we did a school in the air.
Gotcha.
That's what we did.
You maintained your school community.
We maintained our school community. We didn't lose one student.
Yeah.
We did not lose one student.
What a testimony to...
We maintained the full community.
Yeah.
But it's because of contingency planning.
God has used you in a very powerful way. Your love for the students, the mother tongue, and just letting that become what it has become. I just want to thank you and commend you, your obedience to the Lord as a leader in the midst of what you've experienced. Talk to me how you kept care of you, and because I know as a leader, we're trying to keep our faculty and our staff and our students and our community together, but your heart, your soul, your well-being as a leader had to be challenging to you just to keep it going. How did you deal with just your soul care and your well-being as you were pouring into so many others?
It's a great question. Wow, that's a leader question. Larry, I guess the first thing I would say is those video sessions where you and I, first saw each other, those were really critical. So ACSI, there have been 2 times in my life as a leader where I felt like ACSI, without them, I'm not sure I could have made it. One of them were the town hall meetings that were done during COVID. I became the head of this school on February 1st, 2020. So I was only in the school for about 3 to 4 weeks when I needed to turn everything around for COVID. And so those town hall meetings were really critical for me as a leader. I felt like I wasn't alone.
Good.
And I got so many ideas. And I would say the same thing happened during the war. When we had a few of those video sessions that Tim brought together with leaders, I knew we weren't alone. I knew there was prayer behind us. I knew that we would make it through. So I think being part of that bigger community is part of it. And I would say ACSI leaders, at different times have spoken in, even this year, keeping us on course. Keep going. That without that voice in my ear, it would be hard. And without that higher level kind of accountability, you're part of something. So that's one thing. I think another thing is you do what Jesus did. You have to take time away.
Yeah.
So actually here we were with this team in Kyrgyzstan, but our daughter was graduating from Baylor. And so you say, we're going to leave and go see our daughter graduate.
Absolutely.
And, we're probably going to take about 3 weeks. We're just going to rest with our Dallas people and our Waco people and just eat some barbecue, and we'll be back in a bit. There's something about barbecue that's part of my spiritual life development plan.
We just bonded to a whole nother level right there.
So, I really wanted to give refreshment to our leaders, and one of the challenges that I was facing as a leader is when I have some of my leaders that are Russian citizens, and they're in Russia, and they're feeling, alone. We've been left behind. The Americans and the Europeans and the Japanese have left. These relationships of keeping the school together. We also did double staff devotions morning and evening. We felt like we needed them so that wherever you were in a staff devotion. And for me in Kyrgyzstan, I could do them in both.
Yeah.
So that became a critical piece of me being sure I had a touchstone to our leaders. That was a really important piece. The other piece I would say for me, just getting away, was I then wanted to find where could our leaders be together, no matter what their citizenship was in this war, right?
Yeah.
So we did our leadership retreat in Kyrgyzstan. So in the summer after I came back from Waco, I pitched it to a couple of our Waco people, like, you gotta help me, we're gonna go horseback riding, can you wrap your brain? Oh, and that was like a big deal for them, like, we can go horseback riding and meet the eagle hunters, you know, the guys out there that hunt with their eagles. So that was our leadership retreat. So, and I found that donors could wrap their brain around it. They believed in it. They knew we needed to shore up the leaders for Christian education in the country. Our American leadership team, we met. We did a horseback riding retreat together. There was some healing. You know, they understood why we left when we did. They understood that we were going to go back in, and we could plan together and pray together and cry together. And ride horses together in Kyrgyzstan.
I'm just...
Is that hysterical?
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it is. But it just adds to my respect and admiration of your leadership. Leaders that are leading during crisis, they find a way. They find a way, and I just... so many people that wouldn't even think about leaving the comfort of Dallas and to do what you're doing. And so God really had to get a hold of your mind and heart to compel and convict you. What would you tell some Christian educators, current leaders, maybe emerging leaders, that it's okay to leave the comfort of Dallas, Texas? How would you encourage them?
You know, as we read scripture, from Genesis to Revelation, you know, we see that God is about making his name known. It's what he's about. We know that students are, they're world changers. You know, you made the reference yesterday to the student volunteer movement that rose out of Princeton. We see these movements of students around the world. Actually, I shared that Dallas churches started me on my first journey as an educator. I graduated from SMU. I was named actually the woman of the senior woman from SMU, and the Mothers Club of SMU, Methodist women, gave me a gift. And I was set to go teach in China at a university. They said, sweetheart, you take that money and you go teach in China, you know. And that was in 1988. So this encouragement from Dallas churches, this encouragement from mothers in the community that I knew that I loved, encouraged me on that first journey. So you need those people around you.
Wow, it's good.
That will come alongside you and will pray for you. That was 1988, and so of course we went through the Tiananmen Square student demonstration movement and massacre, and we were evacuated after that time. But we saw the power of university students during that time, willing to take a stand, some of them for their faith, some of them for democracy, but we saw the power that had in the government. And I ended up writing my master's thesis on it because I was so fascinated by the power of students to bring change. But I knew that the Tiananmen Square movement was nothing as powerful as, for example, the student volunteer movement that catalyzed thousands around the world.
Yeah.
And so I guess it set me on a journey then, and I would say to invest in students because they are the next generation of world leaders. I want to invest in the people that are going to change the world.
Yeah.
Our children, Christian educators, are going to have to teach the international communities in those countries and the children in those countries how to move forward. We're going to have to show them how to bring healing. But we're legal, we're licensed, and what we need are experienced, committed people that would enter into us, with us, to help bring healing and hope during this time and when this time is over. It's going to take a long time.
It's beautiful.
It's going to take a long time, but if Christian educators don't show the way, how else are they going to learn? It's not going to come just from NATO and the UN and all of it, right? And this is why consulates are still coming to me. And coming to our school.
Thank you for leading the way. Don't underestimate the power and the ripple effect that you have had as a leader. I mean, I'm so
and this
blessed.
is all the work of the Holy Spirit.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is all, and to be honest, I don't know that I'm leading the way, Larry. I'm just doing the next thing. To be honest.
Well,
I hope you enjoyed that conversation on the podcast. Joy did reach out and want to say to all of you watching or listening that her school is looking for more teachers, including those who could teach online from their own country, especially high school teachers. If that's you or someone you know at your school, you're welcome to reach out. The email is info@expateducation.org. We'll put that email in the show description, but that's info@expateducation.org. All right, thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of the Sharpening Kingdom Leaders Podcast.
Sharpening Kingdom Leaders is a presentation of the Association of Christian Schools International, equipping Christian schools and educators to be stronger together. Learn more at acsi.org.